signalled as danger. Hazelwood is bowling to him, and Kohli is jammed up in defence, inside edge onto the pads. Ravi, he's always been the fixture of such attention, now in the latter days of his career, and Steve Smith and he are walking the same journey at the moment. You've seen him up close. Where is he in his career as he comes back on these shores as a 36-year-old?
Well, if he needed an injection to really revitalize him and get all his juices going, it's this tour of Australia. I think it'll be very focused. Don't go by the form that you've been seeing over the last 3-4 years.
Hazelwood bowls. Kohli tucks for his first runs off the hip, down to fine leg, and he's off the mark here in Perth.
I think he just has to settle in, bide his time. I like the body language there. He's not like a cat on a hot tin roof. He's pretty relaxed. He's got to play at his pace, not at the pace of the opposition. He's got to make his pace. At times you see him, overexcited. I like what I'm seeing now. It just needs to get over that first half an hour or so, like any other batsman has to. But for the case of Kohli, if he gets through that, he's someone who can turn it on. That's why these first 3 innings, for both these players you mentioned, Smith and Kohli, in this series is very crucial.
Hazelwood to Rahul, who leans forward in defence. Was he over anxious in the New Zealand series? There were a very odd set of dismissals.
Yeah, there was, but it's some dodgy tracks as well. Never easy for a new man to come in and counter that turning ball. So that would have played on his mind, but I think these are some of the best tracks to bat in, if you get in.
Hazelwood pushes in from the top of his mark. KL Rahul is on 14. It's full, it's past the outside edge and through to Carey.
And what people don't realize is, they've been magnificent. Their careers are almost parallel. Virat Kohli and Steve Smith. And one is 35, the other is 34. They're at probably the evening of their careers. The reflexes won't be the same. The eyesight, the way they pick the ball, early won't be the same. But it's just the reputation they've created for themselves, that the expectations are so high every time they go out. People expect them to be what they were 15 years ago.
Hazelwood to Rahul, ducks the bouncer.
But this is what India have to ride this tide now. And see this through lunch. If they get another 30 runs from here, 35 runs, without losing a wicket, they'll be happy. Because as time goes by, you'll see runs will be easier to get. Once the bowlers tire a bit, Nathan Lyon will come into the attack. You've got to wait for the second spells of all these bowlers in conditions like this.
Hazelwood with the last ball of his over. He delivers to Rahul, who's forward and defending. Hazelwood picks it up in his follow-through. 2 for 21 at the end of the over. Ravi Shastri is in the experts chair for 4 and 20 pies, Australia's original fan food.
Jazz?
Yes, Dad.
I was thinking.
Yes.
Let's start our Black Friday Binger deals early.
Have you asked Nana?
Yes?
No. Well, I'm thinking the Bissell Spot Clean, now only $188. The Germanica 8-litre air fryer is hot for just $79. Clean up with a Dyson Gen 5 Absolute Hand Stick for a ridiculous $899.
I was thinking.
No, Lionel.
Get in early. Black Friday Binger deals are on now.
Bingley, better living every day.
This first session of play for MEGT build a winning team with apprenticeship experts. 2 for 21. Kohli's 1, Rahul is 14. Pat Cummins has sent down 4 overs, 1 maiden, none for 8. In Australia fielding in bright sunshine here in Perth with 3 slips and a gully fully stocked. Cummins bowls to Kohli. Inside portion of the bat. It squirts away to square. He takes a single. Moves to 2. It's 2 for 22. Tom Morris with the good oil for Cobram Estates, Australian extra virgin olive oil.
Jared, we've just gone past the record for the biggest crowd ever at a test match in Perth. It's gone past 24,268 at the Wacker for the Ashes. 17 years ago? So they're still expecting 30,000 here today.
So we should have 2 days of record-breaking crowds, and then hopefully there's some momentum in the game for Perth to really drive that home, having been granted the honour of opening the Test summer for the next few years. Cummins to Rahul, who knocks the ball away to point no run.
It felt that way at the toss. You said 24,000 people. You could see there was a buzz around the ground. The atmosphere was good. The Border Gavaskar Trophy there. A.B. Sunny himself, next to the two captains. There's something about it. You just felt that people have been dying to see the series take off as quickly as possible. Got the Ashes next year, so it's a good build-up.
You've lived the evolution of this series as a player and then as a coach and as a broadcaster. And then faces up to Cummins. He drives stylishly through the covers and doesn't even want to run. Kohli pulled up. It's a long, deep boundary and it doesn't get there, so they won't get full toll. Kohli, by apology, has to do a little bit of sprinting. KL Rahul will get 3. It's a long, long way to the square boundaries here in Perth. It's 2 for 25.
It's a long boundary, and it's not the quickest outfield. That's something the players from the subcontinent have to get used to. In India, you punch this in the gap, don't even bother running.
Yes.
Just make sure the ball boy returns the ball to the bowler as quickly as possible. Here you got to keep running. Long boundaries.
Rahul is 17. Kohli has the strike. Cummins to him. Oh, he pops that ball back down the pitch. Lovely past the stumps of the non-strikers. And under the side screen, the chase is on. It won't quite get there either as Stark overhauls a step inside the boundary. Kohli gets 3 on the check drive. He's 5. It's 2 for 28. Forward full face of the blade. I remember in that Perth Test match where he made the century early in his innings, he played the most magnificent on drive. I reckon he was still in single figures, and it just served notice of what was to come.
That was special innings.
A pair of 3s from the last 2 deliveries. These bowls. Rahul almost knocked that onto the stumps. Side edge over the bails, through to Carey on the bounce.
You can see the sun coming out now, and this pitch, as the day progresses, should quicken up a little bit. Lucky on that occasion. Far from the off stump.
Cleave. He was drawn to leave, but it ended up taking the face of the bat on the way down. Oh, got close. Study of the replay, the pay.com.au replay screen. India's best over thus far. Cummins to close it. Rahul flashes at the drive. He creamed that through cover. That he doesn't have to run for. It crashes into the boundary. The shot of the morning so far. KL Rahul gets hold of the Australian captain. It's 2 for 32 at the end of the over. The boundaries for Azito. Do it with Azito Power Tools.
Lintels and Landscaping Steel Direct. Your no-fuss, fast delivery of all steel lintel and steel landscaping needs. Hot dip galvanised lintels, angles and T-bars. Hot dip galvanised retaining wall uprights. UC, UB and corners. Steel garden edging, all thicknesses for that rustic appeal. All delivered direct to site and all online. Keeping our prices low. Orders in Melbourne Metro over $750. Free delivery. Get what you need at lintelsandlandscaping.com.au.
11 from the over. India suddenly run hot for Ream. Steady, hot and strong. KL Rahul brings up his 3,000 runs in Test cricket in the over. Hazelwood bowls to Kohli, who's coming forward in defence. So the first counter-attack from India, Ravi.
Yes, and that's what happens when you spend time at the crease. You give the devil his due. They bowled well. Australia, give the respect. Don't go out of your way to try and manufacture shots. As the session progresses, the bowlers will tire. You'll get loose deliveries on offer. Be ready to cash in then. That's Test cricket. You've got to give it to the bowlers at some time, especially in these conditions. Give them that first hour and a half.
Kohli is 5. Taps the bat, stands upright. Hazelwood into him, and Kohli rising delivery, fended it for first slip, and he's out. It's Hazelwood who proves the danger, and Kohli has gone for 5. Australia have grabbed 3 before lunch. And matters are worse for India now.
That's a beauty. That's an absolute beauty. It's climbed off a length. And this has surprised Virat Kohli. You can see just fractionally short. It's steep bounce from a length. That's taken him totally by surprise. The Aussies are not going to miss that. You can see Hazelwood. He's a cock-a-hoop. He's on fire now. This is the big fish. This is the big one Australia wanted before lunch. And India have lost Virat Kohli for 5, and they're 3 for 32.
It was a brute of a ball, and even Khawaja at first slip, suddenly it was upon him, and he did well to wrap his hands around it because it wasn't the angle that they would have expected an edge to be coming from. It surprised batter and fielder alike.
Oh. That went from the length.
Hazelwood 2 for 6. He's in his 7th over. Just ripped off the shoulder of the bat. Feels like the crucial moment of the session for New Farm Australian through and through. And it brings Rishabh Pant out into the middle. Kohli's wicket, so regardless of what happens in his career trajectory, it is still the wicket.
It is the wicket. You can see the celebrations from the Australians. They knew how badly they wanted it. And ideally, when Cummins said 50-50 at the toss, he had a mind on fielding as well. And now once they were fielding, their main aim would have been to get Kohli and Pant out before lunch. They've got Kohli out to bat. He's gone. Now they've got Pant out to bat. And with still about 40 minutes to go for lunch.
Troubled times for India. Rishabh Pant, who won his place in the affection of all cricket fans with that innings at the Gabba, to bat India to a historic victory at the end of the previous series. He has lived life's travails since then. It's a triumph of the human spirit as well as the sporting determination that he's back in national colours. He's like everybody's favourite visiting cricketer at the moment, Pant. Just makes Josh Hazelwood wait. Now settles in. So India's diminutive keeper on strike, and Pant's past the outside edge to start. The cordon was asking. With another ripper.
You can see what that wicket means for Australia. You can see the spring in his stride just as he ran up there. Josh Hazelwood. He's got a couple of wickets, but that last one has fired him up. And he's seen Pant at the other end. No freebies, right on the money, going past the outside edge. See the Australian bowlers, the fielders, they're in anticipation. They know there could be another 1 or 2 coming before lunch.
2 for 6. Hazelwood. He bowls to Pant, who leaves the rising delivery outside the off stump. He's jumping around in the aftermath. So Ravi Shastri's in the experts chair. Simon Kadich in to join him on SEN Test Cricket for Henley Holmes. Big sale must end soon. Welcome in, Cats.
Good morning, Jared. Good morning, Ravi. All our listeners. This has been fantastic from the Australian quicks, particularly Josh Hazelwood. Love the way he worked Virat Kohli over there. And just the footwork, he was probably expecting the ball to be fuller and didn't really press back onto the back foot from the shorter ball and defended it to Usman Khawaja.
Hazelwood over the wicket, bowls. Pant defends back down the pitch.
Yes, to be honest, they've given nothing away. They've just hit the right areas. They've said, let's be consistent as a pack. Let the pitch do the rest. Let's play on the batsman's mind. You could see Padikkal kept 23 balls before he scored. Kohli got nothing till he got a brute of a delivery that really took off. Simon mentioned very little time. Even if he wanted to rock back, I don't think he would have had the time. Hazelwood is a tall man, and to get that kind of steep bounce, that's a wicket. That's a delivery that would have got a wicket of anybody.
Pant faces up. He's defending the ball across the popping crease. He wanted the single. Rahul sent him back. A wicket maiden from Josh Hazelwood. He's 7 overs in, 2 for 6. India 3 for 32 on the Tyre Power scoreboard. Holiday getaway sail.
G'day, Jason Hodges here. Like me, you know that life happens on lawn. And my mates at Strathair Instant Lawn have been producing world-class grass for over 50 years. Whether you need a play space for the kids, a barbie area for your mates, or an outdoor spot for the pooch, Strathair offer a lawn for every yard or project. From the hardy Tiff Tough Hybrid Bermuda to the greener in winter fescue. Call Strathair for a free quote today or go online to strathair.com.au.
Josh Hazelwood doing it with ease with Dynabreeze industrial strength heavy duty fans. 3 for 32. Rahul is 21. Rishabh Pant, the new man in the middle. Jaiswal noughts. Patakal noughts. Kohli 5 is the litany of woe for India so far. Cummins is bowling and Rahul lets it pass through to Carey. Maybe, Ravi, we could just pick your brain on what we saw from the batters early on. So Jaiswal, who comes with such a big reputation, his first time in Australia, he flashed at a drive and edged to gully.
And that's the exposure. You know, he has to learn from this exposure. On tracks like in Australia where the ball is nipping around a bit, early doors, overcast conditions, you've got to be careful looking to hit on the up. You've got to first gauge the pace, the bounce, where you meet the ball. Even when you looked at it, you know, his heel was on the ground as he was looking to push forward. No weight transfer, and he paid the price for it.
Cummins hits the crease. Rahul's beaten him. He left him on the rise.
You've got to play a lot later. Simon would have been in the subcontinent a lot. You could hit on the up there on day one, just because of the